Hello, my name is Salman Asif. I'm based in Islamabad, Pakistan. In the last 2 decades, I've worked as gender equality advisor, human rights expert, and social protection expert, working for a number of international organizations, including the United Nations. I'm delighted to be here today in Nairobi for the dialogue on engaging men and boys for gender equality and changing social norms, organized by International IDEA under the wide Women's Leadership Initiative. Well, social norms refer to implicit or explicit rules that govern behaviors, attitudes, and expectations within a particular society or social group. They're socially constructed and maintained through collective agreement and reinforcement, shaping what is considered acceptable or unacceptable in that society or social group. But the point is that while social norms may appear entrenched, they are inherently dynamic and subject to evolution over time. Historical and sociological evidence suggests that norms can and do change in response to shifts in cultural, political, and economic contexts. Therefore, although some of the norms may seem embedded and entrenched culturally, but through sustained action, dialogue, retrospection, and collective responsibility, these norms could be transformed, could be changed, and a shift could be brought in within these norms. Well, the transformation of social norms, particularly those related to gender and masculinities, they necessitate collective responsibility and inclusive participation. Men, as beneficiaries of patriarchal structures, occupy positions of relative social privilege and power, and their active engagement is essential in dismantling the very system from which they may derive unearned advantages. Equally, male allyship is crucial not only in amplifying feminist voices, but also in challenging the replication of harmful gendered practices within male-dominated spaces. Without male allies, efforts towards gender equity risks becoming marginalized or viewed as solely the concern of women, thereby undermining the broader societal relevance potential for systemic change. One salient example is the norm that associates masculinity with emotional stoicism and discourages men from expressing vulnerability. This expectation can have deleterious effects on men's mental health, contributing to underreporting of psychosocial distress, lower help-seeking behaviors, and increased rates of suicide amongst men. You see, such norms not only restrict individual emotional expression, but also reinforce a culture that equates empathy with weakness, thereby limiting the full human experience for men and boys. Equally, gender social norms, while often constructed to privilege men, can simultaneously impose harmful constraints on their behavior, identity, and emotional well-being. A pervasive example is the expectation that men should embody strength, dominance, and emotional restraint. This norm disincentivizes men from expressing vulnerability or seeking support, particularly in relation to mental health. We have empirical studies that show that men are significantly less likely than women to access psychosocial services, not necessarily due to lower need, but because of the internalized stigma surrounding emotional openness. This contributes to a troubling disparity in suicide rates, for example, with men being disproportionately represented, particularly in high-income countries. Another example would be that the norm associating masculinity with financial provision and, career success, or being the protector or the provider of the family, men who do not or cannot fulfill these roles often experience a diminished sense of self-worth, leading to anxiety, depression, or feelings of failure. This is particularly acute during periods of economic instability, for example, where job loss or underemployment may be perceived not simply as a financial hardship, but as a loss of masculine identity.